Today we're working on Schumann's Adagio and Allegro. Welcome back. Welcome to the studio. My name is Cassie and I'm a professional violist and teaching artist. Today we're working on Schumann's Adagio and Allegro. This was originally written for horn, but it's transcribed for viola, and it just happens to be one of the audition pieces in Massachusetts this year, so I thought I'd do a tutorial on it. I'm also going to post my favorite recording of a violist playing with a pianist in the description, so have a look at that. It's Timothy Rideout. He's a beautiful player and I really enjoy his performance a lot. So we're going to get right into the tutorial. One of the things to first understand about this piece is we've got a slow opening, the Adagio section, followed by the Allegro. Now, this is very characteristic of Schumann. He often wrote pieces that had dual personalities. So in the beginning, our goal is to play with our most beautiful sound, our most lyrical playing style. Basically everything romantic you could ever imagine has to be in that beginning. Then when we get to the Adagio section, it's the German marking is Rasch. We want to go for technical playing and kind of almost the complete opposite of what the opening has. So right from the beginning, I'm using the International Edition. What's marked, we've got 4 flats and we're starting on E flat. Now you could do this in first position, but I'm going to recommend starting way up on the G string. So I'm going to find that E flat with my 3, as if I was in third position, and I'm going to replace it with my 1. So we're going to be starting in 6th position. I'm going to check that with my tuner. Right on the money. Now we're going to stay our bow a little bit closer to the fingerboard because we want to make kind of a smoky sound at the beginning. So I'll demonstrate the first couple of measures. So we just want a really beautiful, delicate opening at the beginning. Let's try that one more time. We're going to find that E flat, replace with our 1, and then we're just going to check with the tuner. Okay, starting down bow, set your bow, ready, go. 1, 2, 3. Back to first position. 1 bow. Now onto the A string. Shift. Second position. Now in those measures we've got a nice swell, so we're going to achieve that by using a little bit more bow or planning our bow. So I'm starting in measure 6 on an up bow on that high C. More bow. So it's all about these micro phrasings and making it as beautiful and long and lyrical as possible. We're continuing on. So our next entrance is pianissimo. Again, we're going to be pushed out towards the fingerboard to create that softer sound. Little swell here. Now we're going to create that swell with a faster bow. So if I had no fingers there, it would be a slow bow, fast, slow. Next entrance, we're in third position. Finishing at the tip, and make sure that you have a beautiful release to your bow. Next entrance, we're back in first position and we've got a little bit of a swell there again, right? One bow in this next little phrase. Next entrance, I'm going to be in the middle of the bow. It's a very quick to finish at the tip. Next entrance is still right in the middle. Crescendo, time. So that crescendo goes to the end of the bar. I'll demonstrate that one more time. Immediately piano. again, we want to finish at the tip there. I know it's a half note, but we don't need full bow at the end there. We're going to finish at the tip. Very tiny bow. Next entrance, we've got a sforzando on that F. We're doing that again with bow speed and vibrato. First position. Shifting up on the G string for that low G flat. Forte, lots of bow. Third. Diminuendo. Very slow bow. 3, 4, 1, 2. Shift to first position, a little swell. Little swell here. This is like the beginning. And then second position. Little swell here. Diminuendo and stay pianissimo, back to fingerboard. Save your bow, take another up bow or down bow if you need it, and just kind of die out. So the tempo that's suggested at the beginning is 84. I think that's a little bit too fast. I prefer closer to like 78 or 80. So we're going to play that opening now. I'm going to put the metronome on so that we can hear all of that together. I'm going to set my metronome to 78 and we'll play the beginning. Remember how to find that E flat. Test it. You can also check with your open C string. 1, 2, ready, go. Fingerboard. First position, fingerboard. even though I just did a playthrough with a metronome, I'm not suggesting that you play that quite so metronomically. The opening is screaming for lots of rubato, giving and taking of time. So feel free to implement that when you're playing. I just wanted to give you a version that had more or less accurate rhythms. I couldn't help myself in some places in taking a little bit of rubato. So we've just arrived at the Allegro section, and again, this is the complete opposite of what we did in the Adagio. It needs to be very metronomic, very kind of aggressive in nature. We're gonna, again, go measure by measure for this section. So starting, we're gonna be very under tempo right now. Starting at the Rush section. The suggested tempo is 144. Again, I would be anywhere between 130 and 144, whatever tempo feels best for you. We want to play these triplets in the lower half at the frog. Now, on the notes that are fifths across the string, so not this, right here, I'm setting that fifth already, so I don't hop my 2. It's already preset. So all I need to do is take my bow from the D string to the G string. The faster we get, we want to recover a little bit in the air on those up bows. So I'm picking and resetting lower. Kick. So that we don't travel too far, because this is what happens if you don't do that. And you end up at the tip and it's not very clear there. So staying in the lower half, making sure that you recover a little bit in the air on those up bows will help you in this section. I'm going to start from the beginning again, a little bit closer to the tempo that I think we should be at, so you can hear that. 2, 3, 4. So that's the spirit that we're going for there. In measure 64, we've got a down and a dot on that last 16th note. So you're going to stop your bow on the string so that we had a clear articulation. Stop, stop. That's going to really get those 16th notes to pop. In the next measure, measure 65, we have dots on those notes, but I would kind of take those with a grain of salt. You really want to lead up to that high D flat in the next measure. That's also got a sforzando on it, so we don't want to hear. Not really. They're just short-ish, marcato. Make sure that your instrument is coming up to meet you for the C string. A lot of us tend to dip when we go to the C string, and all that does is it cuts off our sound. So in the measure before we go to that C, lift up a little bit to meet the instrument's kind of going to meet the bow on the C string. So I'm going to go back to that beginning section and put those little pieces together. 2, 3, 4. Section I want to talk about is measure 71. So we've got a diminuendo there. I've changed the bowing in measure 70 to be a down bow, up bow, and I'm shifting to third position here. So I can be at the tip for that diminuendo. I think that really helps create that phrase. Don't be afraid to take a little bit of time between 71 and 72. So after we do that shift, take a little time. Now that's okay when you have to reset for the next thing. And then again, as soon as we've taken our time, we kind of have to give it back. So in measure 72, make sure you go right back to your kind of plowing ahead feeling. So I'm starting in measure 70, and I'm going to put those two pieces together. Now we find ourselves there. We don't want to be backwards when we start those triplets. So in measure 74, which starts up bow, stay at the frog and do a quick retake for those next triplets. So I'm going to go from the same spot. And again, you saw in 72 and 73 that we have those dotted figures. You're going to stop your bow again on the string. Stop. So we get a very clear articulation on that 16th note. Just like that, but I started the wrong direction. We'll start up bow. Lift. Same as we were talking about before about covering the fifths. Set your 2 on both strings there. Set your 1 on both strings. You don't have time to lift and reset it, so make sure you're setting on both strings at the 5th. In the next measure, we've got those triplets, so I'm going to be a little bit longer on the 1st. Shifting to 3rd, and ending at the tip with a beautiful shift down to 1st position to finish off that phrase. This is the end of our A section. Now, this is kind of a rondo. A rondo is where the A section material keeps repeating. So I know it looks like there's a lot of material in this piece, but that section keeps coming back. The B section also repeats itself. So starting, and this is, again, I'm using the International Edition. On the next page for me is the B section. That's measure 80. We've got a lot of swells here. So again, we're doing that with bow speed and vibrato. Same idea. Same idea. Next, we've got a little bit of a swell, but we're staying within that piano range. So in measure 91, we've got notes that have a dot with a line underneath them. How we're going to create that is called portato. So it's this with your bow. And how I create that is my pointer finger is kind of just pressing into the string a little bit. So it almost looks like your bow is chomping a little bit, but really it's just this motion of your finger turning a little bit towards your belly button. So that's going to help create that portato feeling there. In measure 89, after you shift up to 3rd position, I just stay there. Some people like to shift down. But then you're kind of left with an open G string, which you can vibrate sympathetically, but I think it's better if you stay in 3rd position. So that starts on an up bow in measure 89. We're staying in 3rd position. We're in crescendo, portato. Next entrance, 3rd position. 1st position. Now we're back to the A section. Frog. So that's a literal repetition of the A section. So you learn the material once, you just kind of repeat it when you get there. Of course, it's never going to be exactly the same when you repeat it, but the material is exactly the same, so nothing changes there. We've just gotten to this is the C section of the rondo, and this is measure 120. We've got a key change here, so watch out for all those sharps. We've just ended at the tip of the bow in the previous measure, and we're going to stay at the tip. So after we finish, just lift that elbow up to get to the C string and stay there in 1st position. 2, 3, 2, and I'm in half position. 3rd position. Back to 1st position, starting on an up bow. Position. 2nd position. Frog. So when we get to measure 149, that's the repetition again of the A section. It starts a little bit differently at the tempo 1. We were before, but here we're Once we get after the triplet section in measure 148, it's exactly the A section again. So I'm starting at tempo 1. Remember, we want to be at the frog here and covering the fifths. That's the letter H. Now on the next page, which is the last page, this is a repetition of the B section that we had in measure 80. So same idea here. We're going to do that phrasing with bow speed and vibrato. Same thing. Same idea here. It's just an exact repetition. Third position. Here's the A section again. Here it starts to change. Another down bow. Now the schneller, the più mosso, means go faster. This is the coda, so we're going to pump up that tempo a little bit. So that's kind of a very quick blow through of some of the spots that I think are the most difficult in this piece. Again, I will be posting my part on Patreon that has all my bowings and my fingerings on it if you are interested. If there's a section that you're struggling with that I didn't go over, please post it in the comments below. I'm happy to make another video that covers that section or goes more in depth on anything in this piece. It's a really awesome piece. It's a lot of fun to play. And again, listen to the professional recording of it of Timothy Riddell. I think you'll really enjoy that. As always, thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy practicing.